Hello everyone and welcome to Grandstand Sports Data. In today's video, we'll be walking you through a step-by-step tutorial on how to build sports power ratings. So right now, we're just going to show you how to implement it basically from scratch. We're going to be doing ours on college basketball. We think it fits the profile for today and the tip-off of the March Madness brackets. But as you can see, we started off with school. And for you, depending on what you're handicapping, say if it's UFC, this would be fighter. It would be boxer if you're if you're into boxing. It would be swimmer if you're doing swimming. It would be baseball team if you're doing MLB, so so on and so forth. Here we're doing college basketball, so we're doing the school. Then we're gonna do the four factors of basketball here on offense. Then the four factors of basketball on defense. And we're also going to add in strength of schedule because we think that that's a good outlier. Sorry, not outlier. It's a bad word to use. It's a good indicator of strength of schedule in terms of conference play for some teams. So, team like Abilene Christian, where you see them, they're a minus 1.12. It's not going to be nearly as good as the strength of schedule as of Duke. That's basically what we're trying to say. So, you may have teams with a great four factors of basketball stats in terms of Abilene Christian, but they're not as good because they haven't played the same strength of schedule as a Duke team. That's basically a brief description of what we're showing here. Um, Also, we're going to be collecting data as of the last 3 years. You're going to see in the bottom left hand 2024, 2023, and 2022. That's us just collecting data the last 3 years. Now, for your respective sport, you're going to want to collect data as far back as the game has changed. And what I mean by that is people who it's best described with an example. If you're doing NFL handicapping, you're not going to go back to the 80s because probably the winning stats or the win percentage and margin of victory correlates to running offenses or how well a running back performed. That's not the case nowadays. The game has changed so much. So that's basically what I'm trying to say is you want to keep it, you want to go as far back as it would tell you it has a good sample size of data, but you don't want to go too far back to where the game's not necessarily played the same. Now, also for these numbers that I have highlighted, these stats, for your sport, you basically want to correlate them to margin of victory or even win percentage. That's what you want to figure out when you're doing this data on your own in your respective sport. That will make up these stats. Now, let's move on to the data tab. And as you can see, we have all the data listed into one tab for all those 3 years. So you can see you're going back almost 11,000 rows. Excuse me, not 11,000, almost 1,100 rows. And then we have up here, we built this already. It was just a little screen that's going to indicate our equation for building our power ratings. We're essentially building an algorithm that will show us our power ratings. Now, how do you do that? You're going to hit the data tab, data analysis, and then go to regression. And right before I get into this, a lot of people are going to say this looks a lot like when you were building your model. Correct. It's almost identical to building the model. The only thing here is that when we move on to the next step, I'll get into it a little bit more, but there's a few steps that we will skip because it's only a power rating system. Now, in our Y range or our Y output, it's basically the question that you're answering. And ours is going to be margin of victory. Some may be win percentage, some may be margin of victories, depends on what you're trying to measure. Next will be the X ranges, which will be all the stats included, all the way down, covering all of them. Now, I will say more of this Excel information, like output range, is just where we want our answer. We're not Excel experts. I just want that to get that out of the way when it comes to Grandstand sports data. So I know in our past video when it came to building a model, and a lot of the reasons why it took us a long time to make this video is because we got so many questions about how to fix it in Excel. We're not Excel experts, and I'm sorry we can't answer those questions. We're experts in sports betting and sports handicapping. So I'm sorry in advance, but you may want to go to one of the millions of Excel channels that are on YouTube to troubleshoot your model. I'm sorry that we're not experts. We basically do do as much as we can on Excel just to get our answers, but in no way Are we experts or data scientists in this field at all? So we'll click OK to get our answer. And down here under the coefficients is going to be that algorithm that we're looking for. We're just going to simply copy and paste it. Now, like I said, you're going to have to obviously build all this beforehand when you're doing your specific power ratings. Now, a lot of people are going to say, hey, you know what? In that model, you went through the p-values, you see if they fit, all that. We're not doing that. This is going to be more simple, and we're not going to go through all the tests because we're just trying to figure out the power rating. We're just trying to figure out how Team A measures against Team B. For all that other stuff, when it comes to predicting, scores, projected margin of victory, all that forecasting, you are going to want to run it through P test, significance F test, all that stuff. But for power ratings, you don't have to do all that. This will be good enough. Now, let's move on to the current data tab. And the current data tab is going to be easy. All this is in the gray area is today's numbers from those respective teams. So basically what it's saying is that for Abilene Christian, with these numbers, based on the 3 years of data that we have, what would be their margin of victory number? This year it's really 0.31, but with our algorithm and with this formula we have here, it's 0.57. Now, where did we get the formula? The formula is based on the last tab, which was the data tab. Remember, all we did was take that 1.27. It's going to be our intercept. We add it to the equation. So we'll be adding, you see it up here, added to data U2 in parentheses. Make sure to remember that. And it would be SOS 0.05748 multiplied by the current Abilene Christian minus 2.12. And you'll see that in the SOS based on this table. And you just run through the equation. All throughout, through all those stats that are listed, you can see them highlighted down here below for Abilene Christian. And then once you have that answer, this is what will spit out is your margin of victory. And if you have this in a table, it will do it. Once it does it for one, it will do it for all and it'll run down. Now, let's see who the best team is just for like shits and giggles. Duke this year is labeled the best team in terms of margin of victory, 17.94. You have a team like UC San Diego. Remember, they have really good 4 factors of basketball. But see that strength of schedule? Minus 1.72. That probably prevented them from being the best team in college basketball. Now remember, this is very simple. It's only based on the 4 factors of basketball on offense and defense and the conference strength of schedule. That's it. So obviously these can be better. We just wanted simplicity for the video. Now, if you're doing this on a day-to-day basis and you're following us so far, you only have to update this gray area depending on your sport. Might be daily, might be weekly, might be monthly, depends on your sport. Like NHL may be daily, NBA might be daily, NFL weekly. You get where I'm going with this. But that's the brilliance of this. You only have to copy and paste this gray area for the, for the updated stats and you'll get this number. Now, let's walk into the last step, which is the results. And for results, what we're doing here is we got our home court advantage up in the top left, which is A1, home court advantage. Usually in non-conference basketball, it's about 3.5. In conference matchups, it's about 2.5. We would label it 3. And you'll see the equation will change up here or inside this box that we have. But we'll leave it at 0 because of March Madness, right? They play on a neutral court. In the first column, we have home and away. That's obvious. Then we have the teams, and you write the teams' names. They should match what's in this layout over here. They have to match those. In order to do what's next is the power rating, which is the VLOOKUP function. You're going to do VLOOKUP C4, and C4 will be the team. So that's why you want it identical to this right here, or else it won't link up and grab the data it's supposed to. You're going to want it the 15th column, which happens to be our margin of victory. Or the table will be 15th table. This is the 15th table right here. 15 will be the column. Column will also be margin of victory. If I'm moving too fast, remember you can always pause the video. Going back, and then false just means you want the identical. That's all, you just want the identical number that's in there. Now you go down, you want the same thing for UC San Diego, you'll just be doing C5 and everything else the same because you just want it to link up to UC San Diego instead. So now you will get your numbers here, and they'll just basically show up by themselves with that VLOOKUP. Now we want to adjust the numbers, right? Because Duke is obviously about 2.3 favorite, but this doesn't show favorite. This just shows that they have basically a 2.3 margin. We need to put that in betting terms. Well, here to find the margin, just the margin, not the betting terms yet, just the margin, you can take Duke, which is D4, their power rating, minus UC San Diego's power rating, which is D5. That gives you 2.3. Now you're going to want to do vice versa for San Diego. You're going to want to take their power rating minus Duke's power rating, and that will give you their difference. Now in this third column is going to give you the actual line in the game. You're just going to flip them. So you're just going to make F5 a minus. So you're taking that F5 that's down here, and it's going to be flipped. That's it, flipped. And then over here, you're going to have the minus outside of the brackets here. And it's going to flip whatever the equation is on the inside, which is E5, which is San Diego's adjusted rating, added to their home court advantage. There is no home court advantage in this case, but that is what it is. If we change that, you'll see, let's change it to that 3 that we were talking about. Now, UC San Diego is very close to a favorite on 1 point. That's basically how you do these power ratings. Now, just to review, you basically have all your power ratings here. You built a whole system that fast. But just to review, what I want to know is that you only need to update the gray. So you can see it here. We have gray listed for the teams. That's the only place you need to do an update. And you only need to update their current numbers. So say if you were handicapping on a daily basis, say this was NHL, you would just log in the numbers every single morning. This can be fast as a simple copy and paste if you find the right website to scrape your data from. And then you just log in the matchups and it'll give you your line. That's simple. Now, what I will say is that you want to find the variables. Remember, we talked about that early in the video. You want to find the variables that correlate to margin of victory or win percentage, one of those two. And then if you want to find playoff success, you could either do, I do draft location. So teams like, say, NFL, 1 through 32. Well, the 32nd team in the NFL won the Super Bowl. So you'll find stats that correlate to the draft. I was going to say lottery, but draft positioning. And that will help you. The teams with the bigger number, closer to 32, will tell you that's the team that could have more playoff success. So I think that, measuring at different levels, so regular season and playoff, is huge for certain sports. See if your sport is one of those where regular season may tell one story, but playoffs will tell a whole nother. And that's basically all we want to give you for the review. We think that we walked through everything. If you like this type of content, make sure to hit the like button. Also, if you want to see more of our content and you want to see it before everyone else, make sure to hit that subscribe button. And then finally, comment down below on how we can improve in, giving us more. We've given you a model so far, how to walk through a model. We've given you how to walk through power ratings. Maybe there's other things that you want to see, like record keeping or back testing. Make sure to put down in the comment section below what other types of content you would like us to cover. Thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.